So one thing I really wanted to do with this channel and stuff on social media is talk about just things that inspire me and people that inspire me or have along the way. And so one of the first things that came to mind for me in my kind of story was this book here, Rebel Without a Crew by Robert Rodriguez. I think to anyone my age, so I'm 39, I think if you're around my age, a little older, a little younger, you're familiar with the story, you're familiar with the person. It was like the indie hero story, I think, of my generation. And I had the pleasure recently of speaking to some students at Carleton University who are in their media production program. And I brought up this book and I was sort of surprised, not really surprised, that no one had heard of the book. So I encourage them all to read it because it's great. And the audiobook version just went up 3 weeks ago, read by Robert Rodriguez with like amendments to things that have happened since, which I highly recommend. I crushed it the day it came out. It's so good and brought me back to that place where I was before I even purchased any of my cameras, like listening to this. I really believe this is important for younger creatives these days to listen to something that isn't about telling a story on social media. And what I mean by that is we live in a day and age where everyone can create a perception of how they gain success or even that they're successful and well off and thriving and all these things when that's not necessarily the case. And so reading this book about how Mr. Rodriguez was basically donating his body to science and being part of all these experimental procedures and drug testing and all this stuff to raise the money to make something that he truly believed in and wanted to make is really inspiring. It sounds silly, but it's really inspiring and is just the truth of the industry. He talks about going to these crazy meetings where he's trying to sell his movie in Los Angeles, all the while trying to save his per diem because when he gets home, he's broke, which is honestly relatable. I've worked on jobs personally where I would save my per diem so I could pay my hydro bill. But if you went on my Instagram, oh, Josh is off in this cool place filming this thing. Meanwhile, I am flat broke. So I just think that this is a really important read for people who want to know the realities of trying to get something made. And there's a lot of things that took place at this time that are still transferable to now. But overall, I just think it's a really inspiring story about believing in yourself, believing in telling a story that you want to tell, how you want to tell it. And this is just one of many stories that kind of prove that if you're willing to work hard and do anything to get your stuff made, you can get it made and you will be successful. And if you're a good human being, you will be successful. If you haven't read it, go out and read it. I actually bought this several years ago. I had a pirated PDF copy from 2011 when I read it the first time. Sorry, Robert. And if you're not like a paper book person, the Audible, again, it just came out and it's phenomenal. I really can't stress that enough. So, young creatives, Rebel Without a Crew, almost at the top of my list. I'm gonna do a bunch of videos like this. I love you guys. Bye.